All right, everybody. Welcome to the NexCel Tuesday night call. Joining me this evening is my dear friend and partner in crime, as we say, Janet Henshaw. Say hello, Janet.
Good evening, everyone.
There you are, and also in the background working. Of course, it's the afternoon in Hawaii. John Rustin's on the call as well, and a handful of other friends. As always, I got to thank the friends who are here. I'm also aware that we've got, I don't know that we have a few. We've got at least a couple of guests tonight. So tonight I'm going to zip through our little, our business presentation, tell you a little bit about NexCel, what we do, what's going on, why are we here, what exists in the marketplace, and I'll try to do all that without coughing. So anyway, I just have to pull it out if you weren't here. I don't know if I did this shopping cart thing or touching too many doors. This morning I was just getting a little ornery and I couldn't figure it out. I talked to Jan a few times today and a handful of other people. And by the time I was done with dinner, I had the chills and I think I got a cold. So I got to pretend I'm Howard Hughes. Got to be a germaphobe. I'm always washing my hands. Plus, I'm taking my CBD. The only good thing about that is I'm going to sleep all night, I hope. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Let's tell you a little bit about our company. First of all, the name of our company, before we go there, I got to share this with everybody that we live in a land of abundance. Everybody knows that. Whether each of us has abundance of wealth or whether we've got a lot. And we also have been blessed with tremendous opportunity in this country. And, I always wax a little bit, patriotically. We as Americans have got to be grateful for these blessings that we have. And one of the best ways to show our gratitude is to share opportunity and this abundance, even if it's just excitement and knowledge with others. For the guests who are on the call tonight, I'm Bob Torsey. I've been with NexCel since its inception. I'll tell you a little bit more about what goes on as with me and this company as we go on, and then we're going to have Janet talk about our products as well. So anyway, as always, it's my privilege, and I'm happy that I get a chance to cover a few topics with people when we talk to you. First one is the situation of our general health and some of the challenges that we're dealing with. Secondly, we're going to have a little industry about why we're faced with some of these health problems that we have. And then the third thing we're going to do is, as I mentioned, we're going to introduce NexCel and our products. And we're going to tell you just a little bit. If you're on the call, you were invited by somebody, and there are plenty of resources where you can go check up on the story that we tell at night. This is just an overview. But we're going to tell you about the fact that there's a whole lot of money that's going to be made in the CBD business. So let's just get started with this. By the time we're finished, we don't expect everybody to run out and do a whole lot of things at 9 o'clock at night in this part of the country. But we do expect you to get enough information so you can make an informed decision that you're either going to join us and play so we can tell the world about NexCel or pass, whichever you decide to do. I can't figure out why anybody wouldn't be doing this. Okay, so let's tell the story. I love the story. There are fortunate humans on the planet today. I'm not one of them. I got this cold, but they might feel great each day and wonder what all the fuss is about. Well, the fuss is over the fact that others are suffering from pain and anxiety and depression, lack of sleep, loss of energy. People are hurting. Everything from past injuries to arthritis, fibromyalgia. People are suffering from PTSD, and we're plagued by an opioid epidemic that kills over 100 people every day. That is a whole lot of people losing their lives because they're in pain, and doctors go out and they prescribe these opiates, and they're so addictive. I was talking to my dentist last week. I went for my checkup, and I was asking him about, the pain pills and all that he uses. And oddly enough, they do use CBD there. but they make sure everybody takes it ahead of time. But I wanted to tell you this. He said he's just trying his best because he doesn't want to feel the guilt. He talks to a lot of his colleagues, and they said, they pull a tooth or they do a root canal or things like that, and they'll give somebody 6 pills. Now, they don't know if they've had 6 pills before or whatever, but in as little as 6 doses of some of these pills, they're addicted and they have to have them. So that's really scary. But anyway, here's the other thing that's something that we should be in tune to. Infectious diseases are on the rise, and so are Parkinson's. We're going to have over a million sick people with Parkinson's in the country. Alzheimer's is going crazy, and we know that there's a solution for that. But there are so many other diseases that are burdening the healthcare system, which by the way, these diseases are going to cost the system about $7.3 billion. And it diminishes the quality of life, not only the people who are ill, but the people who love them, the people, their family and their friends. Everybody suffers when somebody suffers. And why does that happen? Well, we go back in history, and we all know that war and childbirth, famine, and the absence of medicine, as we know it today, managed to keep the life expectancy of our ancestors down real low. I mean, they were leaving us before 50 for a long time. Younger than that, if we really go back there. But over the years, we've experimented and learned how to treat ourselves naturally and effectively. There were plenty of ways to stay alive, and science and technology were really in tune with that. Ultimately propelled us to where we are today, but none of that happened without turmoil. We got to go back in time. We'll do it about 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. How many of you knew that hemp, it's a species of cannabis that has history dating back to an ancient Chinese dynasty? And or have you ever heard that sativa and indica were thought to be Sanskrit terms referring to the morning and the evening? Well, actually, that was a little distortion of the truth. Sativa, by the way, is Latin for grown or cultivated. That's where they use that particular term. And India is an extraction. It means indica means from India. So regardless what it's used for, the morning or night, there are tremendous histories out there, and we've got to look at the applications, I'll call them, about hemp over the centuries. But still sticking with some of the ancient times. We go back to like 2900 BC. Chinese Emperor Fuji, he was credited with bringing civilization to China. And at one point, there was a little bit of folklore out there that China meant cannabis. Oh, my goodness. Well, anyway, he noticed, by the way, the great emperor that he was, that cannabis contained both yin and yang. And if you know about yin and yang, that's like homeostasis today. It's all about balance. It's the way the world goes around. It's two different forces keeping each other together. All right? In the country in 1652, an herbalist by the name of Nicholas Culpeper praised the medical uses for hemp. George Washington, him, George. We just celebrated the 4th of July the other day. You know that he grew hemp between 1745 and 1775? By the 1840s, marijuana, by the way, became mainstream medicine in the West. And in 1850, marijuana was added to the U.S. Pharmacopoeia. That's that little directory of all the drugs that are available. And that goes back there to that edition. And they listed it as a phenomenal treatment for numerous afflictions. Okay, a little more history. We're going to go on there. 1889, cannabis was recognized in the Lancet. That was the publication at the time, medical publication, for use in opium withdrawal, all the way back then. 1918, U.S. pharmaceutical firms grew 60,000 pounds of cannabis annually, for God's sakes. By 1936, 80% of the medicines contained marijuana, and they were marketed by the likes of Eli Lilly and Park Davis. Something happened. Well, follow the money, my friends. We talk about these people all the time. William Randolph Hearst. Of course, he was in the lumber business. He owned the newspapers. Thomas DuPont, he was in the chemical business. He's the guy that came up with nylons and Dacron and all that stuff. Henry Ford, everybody knows Henry Ford. You know that Henry Ford actually built the hemp car, and he had the sister to ethanol way back when. Well, you know, during that same period of time, Big Pharma invented aspirin and morphine too, so they decided they were all going to get involved. Just follow the money. First, by the way, in the newspapers condemned it. Ford protected his friends in the steel and the rubber business. DuPont made a fortune, and guess what? Prohibition was repealed, and then alcohol took over. All you have to do is watch the way the industries go. And now, all of a sudden, it's coming back. I got to tell you why. Hang on. These groups caught the ear of the United States government, by the way. Everybody's against cannabis because they had their own interest. And it was listed. They criminalized it. And in 1937, it was listed as a Class 1 narcotic, right alongside with heroin and other addictive drugs. Wow, well, that's one way to take care of it. List it there, make it illegal. They even made a movie, by the way. Janet and I and Doc and a handful of us did the symposium. We had a couple nice events, and we were laughing about how many people saw that movie, Reefer Madness. I mean, how predictable was that they'd make everybody crazy? But anyway, what happened was for 80 years, the populace has been starving. The endocannabinoid system, I'm going to let Janet explain a little bit of that when she gets into the product. But the endocannabinoid system was discovered in 1992. We had to fast forward here. Let's explain a little bit about the endocannabinoid system. It's real simple. It's got receptors in it, okay? And they got CD1 receptor and CB2. One of them's for mood. The other one's for pain. Let's just go through this relatively quickly. Fact of the matter is, that system, that endocannabinoid system, and those receptors are what promote homeostasis in our immune system and our nervous system. How can we be healthy if we're all out of whack? If nothing's in balance, something's going to break. It's just like a high horsepower car with bad gas. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Everything starts to fall apart. Fact of the matter is, we cannot have balance without cannabinoids. CBD is legal in all 50 states. We talk about the Farm Bill all the time. It was signed last year. Why do we tell you that history? Enter Steve Smith, NexCel, and CBD. NexCel is our company, my friends. We're headquartered in Austin, Texas. We are in the wealth and wellness business. Our raison d'etre in France. The reason for living, is to create an environment where we can make some money by helping people. And Steve knew, based upon his experience at NexCel, I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. He said, one of these days we're going to get a product that's going to be as hot as long distance was back in the late 80s and 90s. Well, all of a sudden that happened. So Steve formed a company called NexCel, the NexCel. And we've been working hard because this industry has been full of challenges. You know, and you hear about them every day. I already told you we're headquartered in Austin, but Steve at NexCel was the co-architect of the highly successful marketing phenomenon, NexCel Communications, okay? We went public. We were in the referral marketing business just like today, except we didn't have an internet. We had to go out there and shake hands and talk to people. Maybe that's our problem. But at any rate, we did $1.5 billion in a short. That's a B with a billion, and we had lots of revenue in just a few short years. As I mentioned, we hit $1 billion in sales even faster than Microsoft did. And it was the youngest IPO company publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. And hundreds of people, well, there's a lot of them out there. I was blessed to be one of them. We all got to be very wealthy. And there were thousands of folks who were out there just happy making $500 to $1,000 each month, but a whole lot of people ultimately we're making 5, 10, 50, 100,000 a month. My friends, that's a lot of money. We're going to do it again. The timing is right. One inspiring fact is that this company model is built around the comp plan made NexCel so successful. And I want you to ask yourself, what the heck was the big draw about long distance back in the 80s and 90s? Well, there was nothing sexy or exciting about long distance. It was the money that could be made by building an affinity group of people who know that there's an alternative to AT&T, MCI, and Sprint. So Kenny and Steve jump into that business. That's what we did. It was just outrageous. And the more people that came in, the more people were making money. And the more people that were making money, the more people came in. That is what's known as a snowball rolling downhill. You didn't have to worry about three getting three. I mean, that's still the model. We're always going to do that. As long as we're in this business, we'll just keep on trying to get three members to gather or buy three customers and customer credits, points. And the fact of the matter is, we're in the right place at the right time. And it is not easy. If anybody tells you this business is easy, they're crazy. It's one of the toughest things I've ever done. I was in the right place at the right time. I won because we had a great team. That is what propelled NexCel. We had a lot of people lifting each other up. That is what our responsibility is when we get into this business and we sponsor people. All right, I'm going to turn it over to, I get fired up when I just think about networking because, you know, when it works and once it catches on, it is indeed a snowball rolling downhill. And we don't have snowballs down here in Florida, and I know John doesn't have any out in Hawaii. At least not down on the plain there, but by the water. But the fact of the matter is, it is something that is you can't stop it. It's momentum at its greatest. It just moves things. Just imagine a glacier. It can just move them out. It's just phenomenal. So anyway, Janet, I just set the stage for all the excitement that you're going to share about our product line. Give them a little review of our product line, and then why don't we focus in on one tonight? We'll have some fun, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how to get started later.
Well, thank you, Bob. I really appreciate that. Yes, my name is Janet Henshaw, and I'm talking to you from Texas. So y'all just hang in there. I'm going to share a little bit about these phenomenal products. You know, one of the greatest things that you can do when you're in the product industry is find the finest product in the marketplace. And that is something that we have done here with NexCel. There's a lot of CBD products. It's really simple to make a CBD product in your garage. It takes propylene glycol, which is one of the most wonderful things if you want antifreeze for your car. Butane, and I don't think we really want to eat or drink butane. How about ethanol, alcohol? All of these things are used in the extraction process. What we're really looking to do is find a product that during the extraction process, they're using a high-quality product, and then they take that out of the product before we, the end user, actually ingest that into our bodies. You know, we had a gal who actually had a bottle of CBD, and on the bottle it said that it contained propylene glycol. Well, she went into anaphylaxis and barely made it to the hospital in time. And so what we want to do for you at NexCel is make you understand that we care. We really care about you and our products. We're third-party tested, Quest Labs and iLabs, and then our manufacturer. So we're tested 3 times before you would ever get one of our products. And it's really important because we have no heavy metals, no chemicals, we are not genetically modified, and we have 0 THC in our product. There are over 113 cannabidiols, and you've got THC, THCA, and THC max. That's 3 products out of the 113 that are psychoactive. With the NexCel products, we pride ourselves in having absolutely 0 psychoactive effects with our product, 0 THC. That farm bill that Bob was talking about allows for 0.3% THC, but we have come up with a product that is even better than that. We exceed by 0.3%. We have zero THC in the product, no psychoactive effects. Imagine a child, they can have this, or a senior, because seniors have pain, inflammation, anxiety, and insomnia. The last thing we would want is for them to take something and actually have a little bit of psychoactive interference where they could fall and maybe injure themselves even more. That is the pride that NexCel takes in their products, a very clean, 100% natural product with no additives. Now, we also have something called terpenes in our product, and that is something that Bob was talking about a little bit. We have the endocannabinoid system. Your CB1 receptors are your nervous system, and your CB2 receptors are your immune system. People talk about THC, and that really works well with your CB2 receptors for your immune system. That's viruses and bacteria. But what if we could have 100% natural, FDA-approved product called beta-caryophyllene? That is what I'm going to talk about tonight. NexCel has 3 products primarily: a capsule, a tincture, and a salve for a topical product. Well, the beta-caryophyllene, which works with your CB2 receptors, is in our capsules. So not only do we have the CBD in a broad spectrum with CBG, CBN, CBC. Now, I know, that's crazy. What is all that? Let me tell you, it's synergistic. It works with your body for the optimal opportunity of health and the advantage to work with both your nervous system and your immune system. Our capsules are really fabulous. They're 25 milligrams of CBD. You take one in the morning and you're going to feel absolutely amazing. And so I want to tell you a little story that happened today because, you know, I love sharing the benefits of these products with you. I had a gentleman that came in to visit with me, and he did 20 years in the military. He's got PTSD. His L4, L5 are absolutely compressed, and he's had diabetes for 53 years. So the doctors have him on 7 medications and have told him that the only thing that can happen is for him to have back surgery. But after being a diabetic for 53 years, it's very, very dangerous to go in for back surgery. So the very first thing I did is I gave him one of the capsules because he really doesn't like the oil. That was something that he didn't want to try. Then I gave him a little bit of the salve topically on the spine near the L4 and L5. We were talking, and within 2 minutes, his face changed. And a smile came out on his face. And his eyes started to sparkle a little bit. And he said, "Am I really feeling this change?" And I said, "Yes, sir, you are." He said, "Is this a placebo?" And I said, "No, sir, you're actually feeling it. I just saw the change in your face." He said, "I have been told that I will be in a wheelchair and unable to walk. For the very first time in years, I am feeling relief in my spine. All those pain medications that I'm taking don't give me what I have just gotten in the past couple minutes." He said, "I'm addicted to the opioids. Do you believe that this could help me make a change in that addiction?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." But I also made a very good point, and I said, "Please don't take yourself off those medications. Start taking the CBD. As your body starts to change, go to your doctor and allow him to take you or reduce the amount of opioids you're taking." He started to cry. He said, "I thought I could never have relief like this again in my life. You have just given me a gift." And I said, "No, sir, you gave it to yourself." And that is the NexCel product. These are the testimonies that we have, some of the stories about the benefits of our product. And that is really what you get to share with NexCel. When you tell someone a story and your own personal story, you're going to create success. Success because you're going to have friends and family who are no longer in pain. They're going to want to get out and do things, and they're going to want to share with their friends and family members. You're going to have a family that grows so rapidly because you have the most amazing products, and financially you're going to be rewarded for sharing with other people. And now you're going to be able to take vacations and go places and do things, or even go on an incredible fishing trip in Hawaii. One of the most important things that you can remember about this product is we are going to bring to you the highest quality products with the most incredible training for the opportunities for you to be able to share this. Some people think that they don't have anyone they can share with. Anyone standing next to you is going to share with you that they're in pain by reaching for their back or for their knees, or they've got a cane, or they're limping. You can share with them the benefits that you too have received from the NexCel products. So with that, Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you and thank you all for being here tonight. I can't wait for the day that I get to meet you in person. Bob, are you there?
Yeah, I had to hit the button, but I hit the wrong one. Hey, I'm back, everybody. Janet, thank you very much for sharing that. You know so much about the endocannabinoid system and the products. Being a health and wellness advisor, you know, that's a nice thing to do. I try my best not to learn all those things, but just enough to get dangerous. But I'm a guy that's got to go back because, you know, it's been my experience that these businesses, sometimes we shied away from the word business because people didn't want to get into a business because they think they had to sell and they think they had to do all these things, or maybe they've tried it before. If you're one of those, I want you to forget everything that you know about multi-level marketing, network marketing. Just forget about it for a minute. I want you to take a look at the prize. It's anticipated. You know it's 2019. We're supposed to be looking at we're supposed to be looking at $22 billion in the CBD space at the end of 2022. Watch, it's going to grow really quickly. Global revenue is going to be about $57 billion. I bet you these numbers are going to pale by comparison to the research that's been done. So why am I talking about these big numbers? We're just regular folks here. Well, regular folks who want to change their standard of living, who want to change their financial wherewithal, have to take a chance. You're not going to win the lottery. The odds are way. Oh my goodness, come on. So we got to do something, and I want to encourage you to do this. We got to get back to the making money side. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then we got to change. And it isn't that money is anything better than any other bad habit. Money can be nasty. Forgive me. But it's what you can do with money. It's when you've got time. It's when you can spend time with people, when you can help people. That is what NexCel is. We are in the opportunity business. We're going to give you the opportunity to help somebody else improve the quality of their life, and you're going to get paid to do that. Well, that's a business. How many of you have ever thought about owning your own business? Okay, being your own boss, working from home. It's outrageous to do that. 70% of Americans, listen to this. I got this online last week or a couple weeks ago. 70% of Americans in the workplace prefer to work from home. I would think 95%, but apparently a lot of people want to go to an office and get out of the house. But anyway, most of us are out there working. And what we're doing is we're trading time for dollars. We put in our 40 hours. Yeah, we wish 40 hours. It's 50 or 60, 80 for some people. And, you know, what's happening is everybody out there's got a lot of dreams, but, you know, their dreams are outpacing their income. You can only make so much each year. But if you own a home-based business, it's more common than you think. And I got to tell you about this. All this information I found, by the way, was on inkfile.com, Inc. Incorporated, INCFILE.com. It's a very interesting resource because it told me the other day that there are reports that there are 38 million home-based businesses registered in this country. Now, we know there are a lot of businesses that aren't registered anywhere. But anyway, that represents, 10% of the population are already working home, and 70% of the people that are working want to do it too. The people who own their own businesses today, my friends, generate $427 billion a year. All right? And here's something that's really amazing. I'm excited. We got a couple of years into NexCel here. Businesses that are around, all right, because, Small Business Administration says, we lose a lot of these. But if you've been in business for about 3 years, 20% of the people who are out there are making between $100,000 and $500,000 a year. And those numbers validate our income experience, by the way, at NexCel. We just went from making a few thousand to a whole lot of money every week, and you're saying, my God, where's this coming from? Oh, by the way, back to the businesses, I found out that 70% of all these home-based businesses are women. It says 61% are men. Everybody goes, Bob, that's bad math. No, the discrepancy is the result of marriage, family members, partnerships, things like that. But at any rate, there are a whole lot of people who are out there doing well. So don't say, I can't do that. Don't say, you might not want to open up a pizzeria, and I can understand why. You might not want to get an automobile dealership. You might not want to do anything that deals with opening and closing a store. But the interesting fact is most of these businesses that I'm talking about right now, and you are in one, were started for less than $5,000. I mean, a lot. I mean, you know about NexCel. It's darn near nothing to get involved with us. But we'll show you how to do it. That investment figure of $5,000, by the way, is going to be very meaningful as things unfold for you. So anyway, listen, we were getting excited tonight. I'm two and a half minutes over, and I'm losing it again. All right, so we started with a problem. Pain and disease are everywhere. We explained the reason: the absence of cannabinoids, ECS, hungry. Janet will teach you all about that. When we get our training out there on the street, we're going to have some fun learning more about this stuff. But anyway, there is some potential in the explosive marketplace. Nobody's going to make any money unless you've got a product like ours. And that product like ours that can help a whole lot of people isn't going to get out there unless we make a whole lot of money doing it. It's one giant vicious opportunity. You can't lose no matter how you do it. You got to ask yourself, can I do it? Of course you can do it if you want to. You can do whatever you want to do. Well, what do I have to do? Well, all you got to do, wait, let me ask the next question. Do you have $14.97? I bet you do. You got to get some tracking systems so you can follow up on your business. Then you're going to be expected to be a product of the product. You got to get on the product so you can tell everybody your story and then go out there and sell some of it. That's all we do. And you don't have to get an 18-wheeler and haul your CBD around. You can put it in your briefcase and make a living with this. It's unbelievable. So anyway, and where are you going to start? You're going to start with your circle of friends and your family. And you're just going to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I finally got into this cannabis business, and I'm excited. They're all going to think you're doing something illegal. It's crazy. But welcome to the world of skepticism and cynicism at some point. You wonder, why are all these people pushing back when we've got the solution to a whole lot of pain and misery? And we've got the solution to a whole lot of financial pain and misery, too. But people have got to recognize that we can't be secret agents. We've got to be talking to people all the time. You don't have to wear a Hart Schaffner and Mark suit and $700 shoes and look like you own Wall Street. Just hang out there, what you're usually wearing. Somebody's going to say something. You're right, Janet. If you say, good morning, how are you? They might tell you, my back's killing me. Beautiful. Can you say, I believe I can help you? Anyway, so don't worry about the money, people. If you want to get involved in the business, we don't want your money. We want the people you know. And then after you introduce us to the people you know, we're going to continue to pay you. It's called residual income. And it's worth more money than I like to talk about over the telephone because a lot of people don't want to believe it. But I've been there before, so has Steve. So have a lot of us, by the way. We've earned our living in many different ways. But we're on the cusp of doing some great things. The collateral material that we've been talking about on the call, it is in progress. It always is. We're going to be fussy this time. It's going to be right. I'm excited about that. Videos are coming too. John promised us that. So we're going to have a whole collection of videos. YouTube. Man will be able to tell you how to tie your shoes. Everything will be on there. NexCel's way. Anyway, I'm Bob Torsi. Sorry for the cough. But I sure am blessed having been able to be with you and share my enthusiasm. Everybody, come on back on Thursday. Bring a guest with you. It's the only way you're going to make money, I promise. And what else do I promise? We love you guys, no matter what they say about you. Have a good night.